The job market isn't as strong as it seemed. The Fed needs to pay, as of 8:29 a.m. Friday. Some financial market indicators, mainly in the bond market, were suggesting that the economy was weakening and that the Fed would need to cut interest rates in the coming months to prevent a recession. But there was little evidence. In particular, the United States labor market has been booming, not at all suggesting an American economy in need of rescue with interest rate policy. The good news out of the Labor Department's May employment report Friday is that the Fed no longer faces a conundrum. The bad news is that it's not just that the economy added only 75,000 jobs last month, far less than the 180,000 forecast. That might be chalked. More worrisome is that the report also revised previous month's numbers down by 75,000, meaning that the blockbuster spring job creation rates were considerably more modest. It is now clear that there really is softer job creation in 2019 than there was in 2018, an average of 164,000 jobs a month so far this year, compared with 223,000 last year. That could reflect the simple math of an economy arriving at full employment. Once nearly but some curious pieces of evidence point to underlying weakness. The proportion of, perhaps most significant, wage growth is also steady or slightly declining, rather than accelerating. Average hourly earnings. If this really were a situation of softening job growth because employers were up against the constraints of full employment, you would expect them to have to pay more to find scarce workers. Instead, finally, all of that came before a major escalation of the trade wars that began in early May. The surveys on which all these numbers don't add up to a crisis, and there is no reason to assume that a recession is inevitable. But it does amount to. The Fed and its chairman, Jerome Powell, will meet June 18, 19. They are loath to appear. They are not in the easiest position. Their main interest, and the soft May employment numbers offer an opportunity for the Fed to ground a policy pivot on conditions that affect ordinary Americans, not because bond investors expect that they will cut rates. Both the market and the economic data are now suggesting that the Fed over-tightened interest rates in 2018, and that the economy is at risk if it does not correct things. Mr. Powell and
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.